I'm ready to start lining the interior. I have my pocket made. This is the front, the back, and you can tell this is the back because it's flat. The front has the little indent for your lid to fit on. But when I measure up from the bottom, it's about 9 3/4 inches. I wrapped my exterior material around so I can take my interior material, and I want it to come about 1/4 inch from the top and quit. So how I got my measurements, I measured totally around my case and OD coated my material. I did salvage to salvage, just like I did for the outside, because that fit. So I'm going to have to cut some off on the interior because it's a little bit smaller than the outside, the diameter. But so I measured that. I did 9 1/4 inches, and then down in the bed of the box, I want 1 inch or 2 down there that I can glue down just to have more sturdiness, the top meeting the bottom. It's glued, but every layer of material that we put on makes the case a little sturdier. So 9 3/4 plus 3 inches, 12 3/4. I think I cut my material at 13 inches and I OD coated that. Once I got it OD coated, then I cut a really nice sharp edge so my OD coat is all the way to the edge and my material won't unravel on me. Let me see if you can see that. Yes, you can see that. Then this has a directional, it's directional fabric. So the birds, I want to make sure my birds are pointing the right direction. The flowers, it really wouldn't make a bunch of difference, but the birds, you want them to go the right direction. So I cut the edge of the top and the bottom off on the ravels on the edges, so I have a nice crisp edge to put at the top of my case. And I made a nice cut, a real straight cut to start with, and cut my salvage off. Then I measured down 9 1/4, and on the back, I drew a line with my pencil. You can't really see it in this line, but I drew a line with my pencil and I folded my material on that line because where that material folds is going to be the bottom of my case. So 9 1/4 inches down, this would be in the base of the box. Then I hope you can see it. I marked where I want my pocket to go. And I'm going to have to stitch that down first. So I marked 1/2 inch in from my cut. That's where I want to start it with my measurements on my pocket. You can center it. You could mark the width of your case, which I think mine's about 12 inches, and center it. And I think 12 is about right there. You could center it in there. You might just want 2 pockets, so yours would be shorter, whatever pocket you want to put on it. But I made a line vertically and horizontally to put my pocket on. Even though I OD coated this and it's waterproof, I'm going to go ahead and pin this on so it won't move when I'm sewing it, because really nothing's gonna work through those little bitty holes if there was some moisture around your machine. And in the time that I was doing my OD coat, my mark kind of went away. My air marker went away on this line. This one's still here, but I can see where it was. You might not be able to, but I can see where it was. So I'm going to take this to the machine and I'm going to stitch down. I'm going to back stitch the first so it's really nice and tight in there. Stitch down over to my first pocket, up, back stitch, back down, up, back stitch, back down, and then back stitch here. So I'm going to go sew my pocket on. I'm done stitching my pockets on. So I'm ready to start gluing this in. I'm going to start at the back side because when When I started before, I had my seam over here, so and it doesn't matter where you start, but my seam was here. So I thought, well, I'll just put my seam basically in the same place. And I want to get my pocket on first because I want it to line up nice and straight. So I'm going to put this one on, do a corner, and then I'm going to stop filming because it's really hard to get it right under the camera. And I'm going to pause every once in a while just to make sure that it's in the camera so you can see it. So we need to start with our glue again. Okay. And our credit card. So I'm going to spread my glue in there. And I want my glue down in the crack. And even if I get my glue a little high, that's okay. I can wash it off because the OD coated material will let me wash it. Got a nice layer of glue on there. So this is going to be kind of tricky. You can kind of see, let me angle this up a little bit. I'm going to fold my bottom. And I'm going to kind of fold my material up just so I don't have such a wad. Oops. I don't want my right side in the glue. So fold this up, and I'm going to line this edge up with the corner, this crease with the bottom. You may have to pick it up. It's way easier when you're not trying to stay out of the camera's way. Definitely needs to come down some. And the good thing with this kind of glue, you can move your fabric around some, but this is very hard trying to keep in the frame. Okay. Hopefully you can kind of move it around a little bit. This is way easier when you can put it in front of you and work. I can't right now. So I want to get as many of these wrinkles out as possible at this point. And it looks like my pocket is going to go right in the corner, which is what I wanted. I may pull it over just a little bit. Keep a rag so you can wipe your hands often. I'm going to work my fabric into the corner down here, and then I'm going to cut so I can overlap my material. So every case is a little bit different depending on the age of your case. But I have the inside front already glued in. I'm going to make the interior in 4 different pieces. My first two cases, I did one big piece and put it in, and it's kind of hard to get the air bubbles out, and I got to thinking and thought this would be easier in 4 pieces. So my third case, I think, I did it in 4 pieces, and it was way easier, way quicker. I'll show you how I measured on my front piece of material, or my back piece of material. Got the front all done. So to measure, you take your height and subtract how far down you want your material to start, which I started about 3/8 of an inch down from the top. Height minus 3/8 inch. Width. On the back, my measurement, and mine is different than yours because every case is a little bit different. I measured down my height and I made a mark across here. So when it's in your case, it's going to fold up and you'll have the material that goes down here that will help stabilize your case and glue the top to the bottom so that it'll make it a little more sturdy. I also added an inch to the sides because this is going to come around the edge of the case, so it will help stabilize each corner. So on the back, I have pencil markings for my inner rectangle. That's the height that I wanted, the width that I wanted. Add 3/4 inch to an inch, depending on how much material you have, so that it wraps around the ends and stabilizes the wood and makes it sturdier. I have my inch at the bottom. And then I'll show a close-up of this, but I also made a cut in the folding parts because this is going to fold up and it will make a nicer corner because I can fold it up like this and I don't have to worry about wrinkles. It will be folded up nice and neat. Another thing that I have done is after gluing the exterior on, sometimes you get glue in these holes when you fold your material down and you're putting it on. So I screwed everything back in, all the screws back in, just so my holes are open and free. And I have my little piece of wood to hold my machine in the case out also. So everything is going to be out of here when I'm gluing my interior in. So I won't do it on camera, but I'm going to take these screws out. I've already applied my glue all on the back side, and then about 1 inch up the sides, and about 1 inch on the bottom. So I have my glue on there nice and smoothed out. And I take my piece of fabric and I kind of fold it in half, and I've got my little turn-ups here. They're going to go up first when I get in here. I've got I know about where the bottom needs to go. So I'm going to line that middle up right about the middle of the case. I'm going to pull it down where it's about 3/8 of an inch from the top. And that corner mark that I cut in is going to help also. And when I'm going to push it into the bottom corner, and the outer part, the little part I cut, the 1 inch strip, it's going to go in the corner first and up the side, up this edge. And that's going to give me a really nice corner in there. And then the long piece, this long piece, is going to go over it. So it kind of hides it and makes a nice corner there. I'm going to do that in the other corner. Go up the sides. And the big thing is keep it even at the top and then smooth your bubbles out. And I have to do it this direction. So smooth your bubbles out and I'll show you what it looks like when I get done. Okay, I have my back on. I've smoothed it all out and got as many bubbles as I can out. So before you start putting the end pieces on, find your holes. And I have holes in this one for this tray, and put your screws in just so those holes are easier to find after you put your ends on. So I have these on here. I'll unscrew them and then put an end in. For my end pieces, I measured the exact width, the height, minus that 3/8 inch for the top, width, height, added an inch for the bottom, folded it up just so I know about where it goes. And then I've already put my glue in here. This is going to be exactly the right width. So I'm going to put my glue on. And the reason that I told you to be sure and put those screws in there again is because when you fill them up, when you put your next coating on, it fills them up with glue. It's just easier to find them if you cleared the way a little bit by putting the screw in a minute ago. Take the glue out of the screw holes because I got quite a bit in there. Make it a little easier to find it once I'm done. And then I'm going to use my finger and kind of make sure that glue is down in the crack. Way too much glue. Smooth it out again. Take my piece of material. Do this whole process, make sure that you cut your pieces where they're going the right way. My words are going the right direction. So I'm going to worry about matching up my front and back. And smooth that down and get your air bubbles out. Wipe off any excess glue. And you are about done with the sides of the interior.